Coming to you from the inner sanctum. This is Sean.
And Crystal.
And you know what we're doing tonight?
Talking true crime.
Our new podcast.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited about it.
That was loud and annoying.
Which all started from us talking about the Manson family and the murders last night. Or it wasn't last night, it was Saturday night.
I don't remember.
And, yeah, we kind of got the idea that we might try to do this, so... And you got your new microphone that we just got.
And I just yawned really big.
Well, you're tired. You've been at work today.
New mic.
Yeah. So, we're all ready to do this, and... it's been really cold and wintry around here today, so...
And we got a dealy dog wanting to be part of this show, apparently.
As usual.
She always wants to be a part of our show.
She's our little Scooby-Doo.
Scooby-Dooby-Doo.
Don't bother that daily. You lay down.
Anyway. Yes, we are talking true crime.
Yeah, I'm excited about this new venture that we're doing. We'll still have our paranormal adventures, too.
So the plan is... She's breathing right into the mic, and they're going to hear all that.
Okay. Well.
But the plan is to do our paranormal episode bi-weekly.
Yeah.
And then the weeks we're not doing it, we're doing our
our true crime. We've already got us a good list going for the next few episodes, so...
Anyway.
But tonight we're going to talk about the Manson family, Charles Manson, and a lot of the crimes that were committed, the murders, which was just awful. There.
Sorry.
So... I've always been really sad about it, and we both watch Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. It's one of our favorites.
I killed her with it.
I like the fact that the murderers are the ones that get killed, and Sharon Tate and all the people survive in that movie. Because that's how I wish it would have gone down, and they would have lived. So.
Buddy of mine and his dog killed 3 of them, and I killed the other one with the flamethrower.
It's like, isn't that the one from that movie? Yeah. Yes, it is.
Let me take it home.
So, yeah. That's a really funny movie, but I wish it would have gone down that way and they would have survived that night. It would have been nice. I've got stuff pulled up about Charles Manson. I know a lot about him just from watching tons of documentaries on the Manson family as well as movies and stuff. But I thought I'd go ahead and...
So he had kind of a bad childhood.
Yeah, he did.
It was messed up, dude.
Yeah, so, okay, and he was executed in prison. He never got out from the murders. Now, he did spend time in prison when he was really young, too, and was released. But as far as the murders in the Manson family, once they were convicted, he never got out. He was executed. And that was on November 19th, 2017.
I couldn't remember if he was actually executed or if...
I believe he was executed.
He was...
Well, we can look it up, but I just know he died in prison. He never got out. And he was born November the 12th, 1934, and died in prison November 19th, 2017. And he was obviously an American criminal cult leader and claimed to be a musician. And he led the Manson family, which we all know that. He basically just got a lot of these young teenagers that ran away from home. It was a new era in that time, the flower children, and a lot of teenagers kind of becoming hippies and joining the movement and all that. So he just had a way of kind of brainwashing all these kids into joining them. And they basically formed a cult. It was in California in the late 60s and early 70s. It says some cult members committed a series of at least 9 murders at 4 locations in July and August 1969. And in 1971, Manson was convicted of first-degree murder and conspiracy to commit murder for the deaths of 7 people, including the film actress Sharon Tate. The prosecution contended that while Manson never directly ordered the murders, his ideology constituted an overt act of conspiracy, meaning it was his idea. He brainwashed them into pretty much doing his bidding. The guy was just nothing but a coward. And
so his mother, her her last name was Maddox. But she ended up marrying what's his name? Married William Eugene Manson. So she married Manson before Charles Manson was born, but Charles was not his son. Wasn't Eugene's son. He was the son, somebody else's.
Yeah, because it says he was born Charles Miles Maddox.
Yeah, but then he took Eugene Manson's last name.
Right.
But
yeah, and from what I've heard on some podcasts and seen in documentaries, his mother was really no good. And
she was a heavy alcoholic.
Yeah, she was going to trade him to somebody for a pitcher of beer.
Yeah.
Now, it says before the murders, Manson had spent more than half of his life in correctional institutions. He was basically in and out of these places his whole life. And it says while gathering his cult following, he was a singer-songwriter on the fringe of the Los Angeles music industry.
You know what I always thought was crazy? That Charles Manson had ties with the Beach Boys.
Yeah, that's what it was saying here. He was associated with Dennis Wilson of the Beach Boys, who introduced Manson to record producer Terry Melcher. Now, for those that don't know, I've seen a lot of the documentaries. So Terry Melcher owned the house what was it? Cielo Drive was where they lived. So he had that house. Well, Roman Polanski and Sharon Tate bought the house when he sold it. He moved on. So basically, Charles Manson wanted a record deal from Terry Melcher. Okay. Melcher turned him down. He felt like he wasn't good enough, that some of his stuff was okay, but they were really out there, and he was a bit freaked out when he brought him out there to the Spawn Ranch and all his little groupies and cult members out there. He basically turned Charles down.
Yeah.
And that really ticked Charlie off. So that's how a lot of this came about. Well, he went back to go visit the house and was looking for Terry Melcher. When he saw Sharon Tate, she was outside in her pool. She had photographers and stuff over. They were doing a magazine piece on her. And it really freaked her out because she didn't know who he was. And he was kind of lurking around and looking for them. And it was explained to him that the house was no longer Terry Melcher's, but he was still pissed off. So, and he didn't care who lived there. He just wanted them to be murdered. And he told his cult members to make it look witchy.
So, there was something I was going to say and you were talking, I forgot. I'll think of it later.
Okay. Well, I just got to that point because it mentioned Terry Melcher, and that was a big part of the whole thing because he was mad about that.
What it was that Manson and a few other people actually moved into Dennis Wilson's house.
Yeah,
they basically had to force them out.
Dennis Wilson had to kick them out of his house, had to force them out.
They basically took over his house.
He invited them over and was partying with them, which was a bad decision on Dennis's part.
Yeah, it was.
Because once they moved in, he could not get rid of them. And he had fun for the first few weeks or whatever. Then he's like, okay, y'all gotta go.
Get out.
He's like, you need to get out of here. This is my house, you know.
You need
Well,
to bounce.
that's when they found the Spawn Ranch.
Yeah.
And they moved out there, which was for anybody that doesn't know, the Spawn Ranch was basically an old Western movie set. They did a lot of the, like, what's those shows you watch, Rawhide and stuff like that. Yeah, they did a lot of Western.
Yeah.
It was basically the background for a lot of Westerns in Hollywood that they made. And TV shows. And nobody had used it. It was basically abandoned. And they had one caretaker taking care of the property.
It's the guy that owned the property.
Well, yeah.
But there was no power to the property either.
No. They used a lot of candles and campfire and whatever. But
yeah. The old man was kind of... He got into the point where he was... kind of blind, and then and one of the girls stayed in the main house with him.
Yeah,
she was kind of smart because she goes, well, if I put out a little, I can stay in the main house. So,
and her name was, they called her Squeaky Frog.
Because she got the name Squeaky because when she was doing it, she squeaked.
That's in the movie. That's
actually what happened.
Now, we don't know that was real life. That was on Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. No. That's a fake. She was a little out there, but I don't think that really happened.
Hell.
You can look it up, but that was in the movie Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. So, yeah, in the movie, she is given that name because of that, but I find that hard to believe that was real. Now, another thing that inspired his big killing spree thing was he was trying to basically start a race war, too, between the blacks and the whites, and then they were going to go into hiding in the desert, and they were going to come out and be superior to everybody. This was all Charlie's crazy ideas, and one of the reasons why he got the idea was he listened to the Beatles song Helter Skelter, and that's what they would write pigs and stuff on the wall and blood, and like the La Bianca murder, I believe, is where they first wrote Helter Skelter in blood on the wall with like the victim's blood. But yeah, he listened to the Beatles song and kind of went even more than he was, because he was pretty insane.
He was.
So yeah. Okay, so he was serving his time in prison. He never got out, but no, he wasn't executed.
I didn't think he was.
It was complications from colon cancer in 2017.
Screw that colon.
Yeah. I'm going to pull up the crimes. So, also Tex Watson.
Old Tex.
He was Charlie's right-hand man, and he got him involved in a lot of stuff. And it says Tex Watson became involved in drug dealing. Oh, let's get Daly. Get down, honey.
Just keep going.
I forgot what I'm trying to do, babe. Okay.
Okay. We're back at it.
Yeah, sorry about that. Our dog was wanting a lot of attention. She had to just go in the other room. Okay, let me start that over again. So, Tex Watson was his right-hand guy, and he became involved in drug dealing and robbed 22-year-old rival named Bernard Lotzapapa Crow.
Lotzapapa?
Yeah, Lotzapapa Crow, Crowe. And Crow allegedly responded with a threat to kill everyone at the Spawn Ranch. In response to this, Manson shot Crow on July 1st, 1969 at Manson's Hollywood apartment. Manson's belief that he had killed Crow was seemingly confirmed by a news report of the discovery of the dump body of a Black Panther in Los Angeles.
See, I didn't realize that he actually killed anybody.
Yeah, he did. And if you watch like the real movies and stuff about it, that's in the movies too, as well as documentaries.
I know he had people killed for him.
And not only did he kill the guy, that was the one that they actually, before he ended up killing him, he cut off his right ear with a sword. Or one of his, it was the right or the left, but yeah, he cut his freaking ear off. And it said, although Crow was not a member of the Black Panthers, Manson concluded he had been and expected retaliation from the Panthers. He turned Spawn Ranch into a defensive camp, establishing night patrols by armed guards. Watson would later write, Blackie was trying to get at the chosen ones. He was just as crazy as Manson. And then it says Manson brought in members of the Straight Satan's Motorcycle Club to act as security.
Anyway.
That's crazy. So you want me to go through with some of the murders or we'll talk about them? So that was the first one. That one was directly Charles Manson involvement in that. This is the Hinman murder. Some of these I wasn't as familiar with. Like, I think everybody's really familiar with, of course, Sharon Tate and those murders. And the LaBiancas, because it talked about them. They killed the LaBiancas a day after the Tates, I
can't remember what their name was, but I know that
they were a big business owners in Los Angeles.
Okay.
34-year-old Gary Allen Hinman, a music teacher and graduate student at UCLA, had previously befriended members of the family and allowed some to occasionally stay at his home in Topanga Canyon. Topanga. Amazing that Boy Meets World.
I think that's where they got the name from.
Probably. According to Atkins, that's Susan Atkins. She was one of the ones that killed at both murder sites. So according to Atkins, Manson believed Hinman was wealthy and sent her Brunner and Bosolil to Hinman's home to convince him to join the family and turn over the assets Manson thought Hinman had inherited. The three held Hinman hostage for 2 days. Okay, this is the one. So it wasn't the first one. I had that wrong. So they held him for 2 days. I remember this. As he denied having any money during this time, Manson arrived with a sword and slashed his face and ear. After that, Bosolil stabbed Hinman to death, allegedly on Manson's instruction. Before leaving the residence, Bosolil, or one of the women, used Hinman's blood to write "Political Piggy" on the wall and to draw a panther paw, a Black Panther symbol. So they were trying to blame it on that and start a thing going on.
Yeah. They wanted a race war, and it didn't really
helter
work.
skelter, yeah. Now we go to the Tate murders, which I'm sure a lot of people know about. The Tate murders were so famous.
Sad.
It was really sad, and Roman really loved Sharon, and they were still pretty well newlyweds. I mean, they had been married for a little while, and she was 9 months pregnant when she was stabbed to death. So here we go. On the night of August the 8th, 1969, Watson took Atkins, Krenwinkel, and Linda Kasabian to 150 Cielo Drive. Watson later claimed that Manson had instructed him to go to the house and totally destroy everyone in it, and to do it as gruesome as you can. Manson told the women to do as Watson instructed them. The occupants of Cielo Drive house that evening were Tate, age 26.
She was young, wasn't she?
She was eight. Sorry, she wasn't 9 months. She was 8.5 months pregnant. Her friend and former lover, 35-year-old Jay Sebring, a noted celebrity hairstylist. Polanski's friend, 32-year-old Wojciech Frykowski, and Frykowski's 25-year-old girlfriend, Abigail Ann Folger. She was the heiress to the Folgers' coffee fortune and daughter of Peter Folger. Also present on the property were 19-year-old caretaker William Garretson and his friend, 18-year-old Stephen Earl Parent. Polanski was in Europe working on a film. Music producer Quincy Jones was a friend of Sebring, who had planned to join him that evening before changing his mind. Do you know how lucky these two guys are? Polanski was out of town. He was in Europe doing that film. And this other Quincy Jones would have gone over because he was friends with Jay. Yeah. But he changed his plans. Just think if they had been there. Because it would have been everybody in that house.
And you know what we were talking about the other day? And you know how much survivor's guilt that he would have had to have had?
Oh, yeah. Well, and it was his wife and his child. I mean, she was going to soon give birth.
But what? You know, he had to have been thinking, what if I just... Of course, she probably couldn't have flown because of how pregnant she was.
Yeah.
What if I hadn't taken this job? Or what if I...
Yeah, probably a lot of what ifs.
You know, he'd have to be going, what if we did things differently?
Oh, yeah. I'm sure he questioned that for a long time. So, Watson and the three women arrived at Cielo Drive. Just past midnight on August 9th, Watson climbed a telephone pole near the entrance gate and cut the phone line to the house. So there was no way they could even call for help.
Yeah.
Man. The group then backed their car to the bottom of the hill that led to the estate before walking back up to the house. So they get in. Basically, this is how they're getting in. And it says headlights approached the group from within the property, and Watson ordered the women to lie in the bushes. He stepped out and ordered the approaching driver, who was, the last name was Parent, to halt. Watson leveled a .22 caliber revolver at Parent, who begged him not to hurt him, claiming that he would not say anything. Watson lunged at Parent with a knife, giving him a defensive slash wound on the palm of his hand that severed tendons and tore the boy's watch off his wrist. Then shot him 4 times in the chest and abdomen, killing him in the front seat of his 1965 AMC Ambassador coupe. Watson ordered the women to help push the car up the driveway. Isn't that just crazy?
Them dudes are...
Yeah. And then it's saying Watson cut the screen of the window, then told Kasabian to keep watch down by the gate. So this is all them basically getting into the house. He whispered, he whispered to Atkins and awoke Frykowski, who was sleeping on the living room couch. Watson kicked him in the head, and Frykowski asked him who he was and what he was doing. And this is a famous line. A lot of people will probably know this. But he said to Frykowski, he said, "I'm the devil, and I'm here to do the devil's business."
Didn't they write some messages on like Helter Skelter and blood
Oh
on the
yeah,
wall, but they misspelled it.
Yeah, yeah. They didn't spell too good.
They weren't very bright.
They basically then there was all the occupants. They forced them to the living room. Watson began to tie Tate and Sebring together by their necks with a long nylon rope, which he had brought, then slung it over one of the living room ceiling beams. Sebring protested the rough treatment of the pregnant Tate, so Watson shot him. Folger was taken momentarily back to her bedroom for her purse, and she gave the murderer $70. Watson then stabbed Sebring 7 times. Furkowski's hands had been bound with a towel, but he freed himself and began struggling with Atkins, who stabbed at his legs with a knife. So that's all how they were doing them. Man. Then Kasabian had heard horrifying sounds and moved toward the house from her position in the driveway. She told Atkins that someone was coming in an attempt to stop the murders. Inside the house, Folger escaped from Krenwinkel and fled out the bedroom door to the pool area, where Krenwinkel pursued her and caught her on the front lawn, where she stabbed her and tackled her to the ground. Watson then helped kill her. Her assailant stabbed her a total of 28 times. Isn't that crazy?
Didn't Watson try to say, "Oh, I was just a driver. I was just a driver"?
Yeah, he wasn't.
No.
Frykowski suffered 51 stab wounds and had also been struck 13 times in the head with the butt of Watson's gun that bent the barrel and broke off one side of the gun's grip, which was recovered at the scene. I can't even imagine how hard he had to have hit to break that gun. Now, this is the last one, and this is going to be a little hard.
We didn't give a trigger warning on this
Yeah,
at all.
yeah.
Trigger.
Yeah, this is true crime, so if you're sensitive to any of this, you probably shouldn't be listening if you don't like gruesome details.
Yeah.
So in the house, Tate pleaded to be allowed to live long enough to give birth and offered herself as a hostage in an attempt to save the life of her unborn child. Sorry, I need a minute. Instead, both Atkins and Watson stabbed Tate 16 times, killing her. The coroner's inquest found that Tate was still alive when she was hanged with the nylon rope, although the cause of her death was determined as a massive hemorrhage.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, this is hard. While in Sebring's murder, it was found that he was hanged lifeless. According to Watson, Manson had told the women to leave a sign, something witchy. Atkins wrote "pig" on the front door in Tate's blood. Atkins claims she did this to copycat the Hinman murder scene in order to get Bosalil out of jail, who was in custody for that murder. So, that was those. Are we ready for the last ones, the LaBiancas? I knew they were after the Tate murders. I'm just like, these people, they were definitely where they needed to be, in prison. Okay, the LaBianca murders.
Do we want to keep going, or we want to make this a two-parter?
We can, I guess.
Because this is getting kind of deep.
Yeah. Well, that was the last one, and then, I mean, we can talk about that then, next week, since this one is kind of a lot to go over. We can do that on some of our true crime ones, because there's going to be some that are...
I think Manson deserves more than one episode.
Yeah. Well, okay. So the next week we'll continue on with the La Bianca murders and then the trial, because there was a lot to the trial too. I mean, the girls went nuts. They shaved their heads. They all carved the swastika in their forehead.
Because not only did they do those murders, but
yeah, it was a lot about
the Lynette
Squeaky From. Yeah.
From she also did she attempted to assassinate President Gerald Ford as well.
Wow, that's crazy.
There's still a lot.
There's a lot to this Manson family.
So we're kicking off our true crime obsession with a big one.
Okay, guys. Well, I think this will be a 2-part then, and
at least a 2-part.
Next week we'll be doing the paranormal adventures again, and then the week after will be part 2 of Talking True Crime, the Manson family, and the murders and the trial and everything. Yep. So anyway. I think we did good. I'm really interested in this, and I kind of needed a break anyway, because the Tate one always gets to me.
Where did you find your information?
Oh, it was all on Wikipedia.
Okay.
So anybody can kind of look over the details. I did skip around because reading all that would have been too much, but that was basically the gist of all of that. And it just kind of aggravates me that they did all this stuff, and it was so senseless, and it was just nonsense. And I can just see this woman, 26 years old. She was so excited for that baby to be born, and like begging for her child's life. And she
had like a big career ahead of her.
Yes, she had done movies, and she was making a name for herself. She was up and coming. She was going to be a big deal. Yeah. And her sister, I don't know if you know this, but those women have gone up for appeals many times, and Sharon Tate's sister's right there in the front, and she has helped deny them every time. She's like, they will never get out. They killed my sister and my unborn niece or nephew.
Okay.
And so, yeah, her sister has lobbied against them for all these years when those women come up for a chance at getting out or appeal. And it ends up getting denied. You know,
I know that they made their choices of what they were doing.
Unfortunately.
But you know, in a way, and I don't want to sound like I'm sympathizing.
Yeah. I get it. I do too, in a way.
You know, I feel kind of bad because they were
brainwashed by him.
They were, but
and drugs were part of it. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Anyway.
I'm just talking like we usually do about stuff. But yeah, you're right. I kind of feel the same way. But at the same time, it's still like... It's so hard because you want to feel a little sorry for them and the choices that they made. But they did make that choice. And they could have stopped, to me. Like, at any time, to me, they could have been human and been like, what are we doing? We don't need to do this. But they were too
drugged up to realize what that...
Yeah.
But they needed to face their punishment, too, because they did make the choice to do that.
Yeah, and they took a lot of lives.
So, anyway, we'll continue in 2 weeks.
Yeah, 2 weeks, guys. Part 2 of the Manson family and the rest of the murder and trial. So,
anyway, have fun.
Good night, y'all.
All right.